All right. Hello, everyone. Just need to make sure I don't have double audio issues, so I can check the comments on the side. All right. So
Yeah, we can
let me
hear
know.
you. Yeah.
Oh wait, I muted. Okay, so everything seems to be good. So I have the project running already. I imagine you're even more familiar than I am with the project at this point. I just added two things to the project that I wanted to show real quick. And I'm gonna add a few more, but we're gonna go through them when we need. I just added some prettier because it was bothering me if I kind of have the automatic formatting, and then everything you see, the changes that may happen, they are just part of the prettier thing. So I have the project running, and the goal was to add this card that we have. So we have some numbers here that are completely static at the moment, and we can view and we can add, even though it doesn't add anything, but it does show some tooltips. So let's start by talking about this Pinia store that we need to create, why, and how are we going to structure the information inside. Inside the documentation, the pages that were probably relevant to you were the core concepts, so defining a store, and also the state page. There are two ways of defining a store. And so first we're going to go with the option store. And if we have time at the end, we're going to show the setup version of the store. So let's get the editor here. Oh. All right, so what do we have right now? Probably have only one. So we have two stores. We already have mixed TypeScript with JavaScript in this project, even though it's only one day old. And we're going to create a new one. So I'm going to do it in TypeScript, although I probably have some errors. I'm going to follow the same convention as the other stores. So I'm going to name it something store. And I'm going to make the TypeScript file, but I will probably have a lot of errors because if we have JS over here, it means that we probably have some types that are not defined. So we won't be able to get those. Now, here, the first thing you want to do probably is import. But if I'm not wrong, we have auto importing happening, so we don't need to actually import define store or the accept HMR thing. So we can actually just create a store like this, and then we can just copy paste this one. I don't know it by heart. I admit that I did create this API, but I never got it to know by heart. And so we want to export some use card store, and then we're gonna have this here. I'm realizing that it doesn't report any errors because probably we don't have any TS config. No, we do. We might not even have anything in TypeScript anyway. So the first thing we want to do is define the state. So the card can be many things. I mean, already I'm spoiling myself with a Copilot here, but the card can be an array or a set or a map or an object. In short, it has to be a collection in terms of data type. Now, there is one thing that you need to know is that when you are dealing with server-side rendering, so right now we have a Nuxt application, which means that we have an application that's going to run on the server, and then on the client, we're going to send the data that was created on the server. And so in order for everything to work correctly, we need to have what I call serializable state. Now, in short, if you want to make it simple, you can limit yourself to things that go in JSON, so arrays, objects, Boolean strings, numbers. Things that do not work, symbols, class instances, and stuff. Now, this limitation only applies to SSR applications, of course. So if you are not doing a server-side rendered application, you can store anything you want on the state. It doesn't matter because there won't be any serialization. But here, we want to make sure that we have something serializable. Now, that means that we're going to use an array, but just so you know, right now there is a small bug in Pinia that doesn't allow us to use a map or a set, which could have been very convenient in this exercise, but it's something that is just a bug. It should be fixed soon. I actually found it today when I was trying to do the exercise myself. But the thing is, most of the time you still want to use an array or an object because that's by default serializable and it's simpler. So here we're going to call that an array of items, and inside we can define the way we want our objects to be shaped. Now, I got a look at the project store here, and I imagine that because this comes from a CMS, it's very, very complicated. So we have two options here, right? It's we can store an object with just the whole copy of the item here and the amount that we have in the cart. We can also just store the ID because we can just retrieve the product afterwards from the product store. And we can also store just an array of all the products and without the amount, and then we can know how many we have. Now, I think the simplest here is more to just have the actual item. We're just gonna go with this object, which I won't be able to type because I gotta look and we have these C's properties everywhere. But we'll get through it. So, and then apart from that, an amount, which is going to be the number of items we have in the cart. All right, so here we're going to we have the items. Since we have a fake TypeScript, I'm gonna add the type, and I also don't have the actual type. But if I had, I would have written something like as cart item array, except I don't have this type. All right. So here, now that I have the state, what we want to do is to add some actions. Mutations do not exist in Pinia. And so these actions are just going to be methods that allow me to play with the state or compute things and return information or have side effects, anything you want. But usually it's related in terms of business logic to the state that we have here. So here we have an item. Now, it has to be a regular function. It cannot be an arrow function. And this is because we need access to this. Now, I think, so here we have this set to a type of any. This is because I don't really know why, but the tsconfig, which is extending the Nuxt tsconfig from Nuxt here, has a strict set to false, which is not a good practice. They probably have the reasons, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to activate that so I have some of the typings work for me. So I'm going to do strict true. Now, just so you know, I think that the only option here that we need is no implicit this. I'm gonna check this real quick. No, there are multiple ones. Anyway, just set strict to true. And restarting the TS server, maybe. Yep, there we go. The good old trick. So now I have the auto completion at least here. I also have the items that appear. The type is never because it starts an empty array. I can just do there's any here. I don't really know what the type is anyway. So what I want, adding an item here, I have this item which is going to be any. I'm gonna add these here. By the way, if you have problems with the strict, of course you can just remove it and have a JS file anyway. So I'm gonna add an item. So what I want to do is find if this item exists in the array first. If it exists, I want to increment the amount. So if it doesn't exist, I want to add it. So what I'm gonna do is first add it. So it's gonna be items.push, and it's gonna be an object with item and amount 1. So this is default. And then what we want to do here is get the item. So we want to find if it exists, existing item equals this.items.find, and then here I need to check what the actual object looks like. So we have fields. We have an ID somewhere. I think this is the ID. C's ID. All right. So if the ID is equal to this ID, we have an existing. So if it exists, then we can do existing item, and then we have amount plus. Otherwise, we just add it to the cart. All right. So now that we have this function here, we want to call it. So I don't know the project too much. I really don't know what it's in the project. So I'm gonna use the dev tools to help me here figure out the actual the actual add to cart button where it is. So I have a page here, should be in this page. I'm gonna open that file, and here I'm gonna check where is the add to cart. Okay, so here we have handle to add cart. There is the function that we need to do to fill. So I'm just going to fill in my cart store. What? Cart store equals, all right, I always make that mistake. Use cart store. It should be automatically import as well. And here we can say cart store.add to cart product. All right. So now I want to check if this works. We're going to add a few ones. We have some errors, so probably forgot to do something. Add to cart is not a function. What did I name it? Add item. Add to cart. All right. So here, okay. I still have some issues. Let's see what happens here. So I'm going to use the dev tools to see what is actually being filled into this car store. And we have this item, sysid. All right. I'm going to check. I'm going to reload the page to make sure that it's not a problem because I was just trying out. Okay. So here, undefined. I'm going to see where the problem comes from. sysid. All right. So yeah, I'm just too used to having TypeScript save my ass all the time. So here, the items that we have are objects. So it's item.sys equals item.sys. All right. Let's see. Now we don't have the error. And if I go here, I check, I should have something that changes. Perfect. Okay. So we have the adding working. Now, what else do we want to do? We want to see how many we have here. So here we probably want to display the total, which means that if I add something else, I don't know which one I was checking. Okay, so now I have 2 of them and I should have 18 happening here. Now again, I'm gonna go do the same as before. Components here, get thing, no, didn't click. All right, it's not really helping me. I think it's the nav bar or something like that. The nav bar. And it has a card icon. Actually, it's a card icon. So. Okay, the card icon has a prop. Card icon, count 0. All right. So let's add that there. Const card store equals use card store. Now here, what I want to use is something like card store dot total amount, total count, total item count. Let's say total count. Now, of course, right now it's undefined, so it probably just stays as 0. But that one is going to be a getter. So a getter, it's really the same as a computed property when it comes to components. So usually you have a state in your store that defines the state of your application or a subpart of your application, and a getter is just derived information from the state. So here, total count is going to be state.reduce, state.items.reduce. I'm just gonna autocomplete here. So we have the accumulation, and then the item is going to be item.amount, because we have an amount property here. And so we start with 0 and we return that. All right. And here now we have 18 happening here. We didn't reload or anything because we have the whole reloading happening. All right. Now here we also have the total items, 0. So we're going to add that as well. Now I don't know exactly where that is, but items. So I should probably have something like 0 items somewhere here. 0 items. There we go. So here I'm just gonna do the same. Cart store.total count 18 items. And now I can count the subtotal. Now I don't know if the subtotal is with the tax or not. This is the kind of thing that changes from country to country. Let me just check real quick the comments because I don't have them, and maybe I'm missing some of the comments that you're writing. Okay, no questions. So here we have the tax. So to tax or not to tax? The cart store. If we want to get the total, the subtotal as we call it here, so I'm just gonna call it subtotal. Let's say we do it without the tax. I think that's how they do it in the US. They only show you the tax at the end, so you have a surprise, a little surprise. We probably also need a reduce, so no surprise. I mean, you don't need a reduce, of course. You can just write whatever you want. I don't know if it's the price. So let's see, where is the price of this thing? Item fields, price, how easy. So item dot fields dot price. Item dot fields dot price. All right. So multiply by the amount. Yes, that is correct. And we start with 0, and we should have a subtotal. Now, if we go to the navbar, we probably have some 0, 0 somewhere, or just a price somewhere. Price. All right. Subtotal. Oh, it just right under my eyes. So I think we have a component called pretty. Oh, we don't have it. Price. Product price. All right. So let's just use that. Product price. No. All right. No. Palette. It's hurting me. So what are the props for this thing? Just a price, a number. Okay. Simple. So here we have the price with the cart store subtotal. So I don't have auto completion. Probably means I don't have the store. I do have the store. All right. So I'm not sure exactly of. Okay. I don't know why it doesn't highlight here. Subtotal. Okay. Whatever. So the subtotal is here, no taxes, and now we can go to the cart. So here we have something hard-coded, I think. Let's see what we have. Wait. Cart, key cart. Okay, so this is just the page component, right? Yeah, it's a page component. Okay, so we're gonna, again, import the cart. So cart store equals use cart store. And then here, use this markup to display an empty cart. Oh, nice. Thank you. So if we don't have any items, so cart store, cart store dot items dot length. So if it's nothing, we display that. And here we also need the else. Otherwise, we display the content. So what do we have here? Now I need to find what I should iterate over. So I think it's gonna be the TR here, right? It looks like it. Because this is the thing that is here. So this is the thing I want to repeat. Oops. I'm gonna put v4 equals item. So I'm gonna do actually this. I'm gonna destructure the item and the amount in cart store.items. And then here, what do we have? All right, so we have the image here, which I need to find. Okay, so where is the image? Fields. Let's see. Item fields image. It's an array, well, with a fields, a file, a URL. Okay, that's complicated. Is that correct? JPEG. Okay. Let's see. Probably need to look at that twice. Wow. How did it infer that? Is it correct? Item fields image 0 fields file URL. Impressive. So we have that. Probably have a title somewhere. Title. Nice. Perfect. So we're gonna add that. Use that as the out. So it's just called title. Everything else should be the same, right? Oh no, actually it's outside of the file. So it's here. Nice. The image is a little bit distorted, but should be good. Yeah, Copilot is really picking up the code of the one of the repo. So now we have the price. The title is still not the good one. So let's see if the title have the name here. So this is probably be the name, right? Item dot fields dot name. Yes, fields dot name. So that should be easy. The price here, item dot fields dot price. I think it was. Yes, nice. And here the input. So we probably want a Vue model here, right? Equals, and so here's the nice thing about Pinia, right? Is that because you can write to the state directly, you don't need to do any mutation stuff to get around writing to the state. So you can just directly bind here fields. No, I'm sorry, I'm saying nothing. Amount. Now, there is an issue with this version I'm writing right now is that because I destructured the amount, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So I'm going to revert this. Do I have another way? I have another way. It's a little bit ugly, but I think it's worth showing just for convenience. Here we can actually have the index of the iteration. I don't know why it is complaining. It should work. So I'm keeping the structuring as I had before. I keep it the amount variable, but here I have the index of the item. So here, if I do this, you will see that here. Vue model cannot be used. Okay, I actually have an error immediately. I was expecting to show the thing not working, but I won't even have that. So instead, what I want to do is to give access to the item through a reference this way. I'm sure that I can get the amount. So apparently I'm wrong. What did I miss here? Carstore.items.amount. Okay, let's see what we have. Items. All right, I think. Let's see. Oops. 0, 1. Okay, so the index is correct. Now, what happens if I do this? Okay, let's use value instead to debug this thing. Value amount 13.5. Okay, so for some reason, the model is not working here. Not sure why. I think it was just a hold reload thing. Like it seems to work. All right, moving on. So here we have the next link, product ID. So I probably need to get the ID as well. So that's going to be item dot the sys.id, I think. Let's see if it's correct. Details. I'm checking on the bottom, see if the link down there changes. So that seems correct. And now I need to check this thing, estimated taxes and total. All right, so estimated taxes and total. Okay, so that means a few getters. We can do it in multiple. So we have the subtotal. We need the tax total. And so that's going to be, well, it's actually going to be another type of getter. So this one is not going to be an arrow function. The reason is because we want to use these dot, and here we're gonna have to type the name, the type, sorry, have to type the return type. We want to use the subtotal here. So that's why I have to type the return. And I can say multiply by 0.1, which is going to be just a constant right now, right? Yeah, 10%. So now that I have the total, I can say that the total is, oh, and I have to return the value, otherwise it's not gonna work. And here the subtotal plus this tax total. All right, so why are you complaining? Oh yeah, I need to type the return because I'm using other getters, so I need to hint TypeScript in order to let it infer the rest of the types. And so here, I can display it here. All right, I think, yeah, everything is just hard-coded there. All right, so what do we have here? Oh, we have to actually implement this. All right, let's start this. Click, remove item. Okay, I need to implement that. And so what do we have here? Subtotal. All right. I'm gonna use a price again. What was the product price? What was the, yes, product price. All right, almost there. Subtotal, yes, that's correct. And so here we want, that was the tax total, right? Yeah, estimated taxes. So it's gonna be tax total. And let's get the same here with the actual total. All right. So this is not correct. It has a typo. There we go. So now we have the subtotal, the taxes, 10%, and then the total here, right there. Okay. What am I missing here? Removing the items, which I haven't done yet. Okay, so we can add items, but we cannot remove them. So we're gonna here handle checkout. We also need a checkout, I guess. I'm not sure if we handle the checkout yet or not. Function remove items, or we can actually just call the one from the store. So we're gonna add a new function here, a new action. Remove from cart. Sure, makes more sense. So here I'm gonna do index. So index equals this item find index, and here I need to do the same as above. Item, and I'm gonna let compile to complete this one. Yeah. So we need to find the index, and we need to check if the index is not -1, which means we didn't find anything. And so if that's the case, we're gonna do those items that splice index1. So we're gonna remove that element from the array. We're gonna remove completely. Now, right now, if we go down to 0, you're gonna see that we can actually go lower. Oh, I have an error, right? Maybe not. Let me see. Let me just reload the page. Empty. Let's add some items. Okay. That's another one. A few more. All right. So check cart, and now we can go negative, right? Yeah. So ideally, we want to remove the item if it goes under 0, I imagine. Right now we have to remove selected, which I haven't implemented yet, but we're almost there. We just need to remove items. So that's going to be cart store.remove from cart item. And so if I say I want to remove, oh, this is not implemented. Wait, where is this button? All right. All right, so remove selected items. So we're gonna have a function like that. Function remove selected items, and here we have the selected. Now I don't know exactly what selected is, so I'm gonna check the console here. Components, the cart component, where are you? Cart, here, selected. So definitely I forgot to implement the selected thing. So let's see here. Let's see where isn't working. All right. There we go. So let's see where this is used. Selected, check false value. All right. Wait, what? Oh yeah, okay. So they all have the same value. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Cart store dot no item dot cease.id. All right, nice. So now here I can do selected, almost that. For const item of selected of value, cart store remove from cart item. So I want to go through all the items here, and I'm removing them if they are. Now here, this is actually an ID. So I'm gonna change the code because I didn't implement it that way. Here, if I have an ID, then I'm just gonna use that here, right? Item ID. All right, so that's it. We go through all the selected items and we remove them from the cart, and then we just empty the selected array as well. So here I can remove that one. Everything updates. Here, remove everything else as well. Nice. Okay. So there is a question: is it bad to use sort in a getter, since sort provides a reference to the same array and therefore modifying the state? So yes, it's definitely a bad idea to use sort in a getter if it's directly on the state. So if we have here sorted items, and you have state, you don't want to do something like this: state.items.sort, whatever function you want to use for sorting these hot sauces. But what you want to do is create a copy, right? You want to do slice 0. So actually, you don't need any argument. You want to create a copy of that array before doing the sort. Otherwise, you're going to modify the state, and that's something that you definitely want to avoid. The getter is like a computer property, so it shouldn't contain any side effects, and side effects include modifying the state, of course. All right, I was saying that I need, what is the other thing? The checkout, I don't think I have to do it, right? Option cell should ask a way to add items, remove items, hook up the cart, store to the UI on the cart in the header. By the end, we have displaying the counts. All right, so we just have to remove the item when it goes to 0. We can also, by the way, we can also improve a little bit the thing here with the number. No, where is it? Here, we can also do min 0. So we can go lower. But yeah, if we go to 0, we can also remove it. It's just that, I mean, you can implement these differently. Usually when you go to 0, you want to display an option to remove it, and you want to trigger an extra user interaction instead of removing the thing right away, because that could be a little bit dangerous. So I think I'm going to leave it this way. It's easier. And we probably have a few minutes left to do the actual setup syntax. Now I'm checking if there are any other things. If you have questions, just put them on the chat, on the detail. Oh wait,
Yeah.
I'm muted, so I cannot hear you. Sorry. Wait, let me unmute.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Sorry.
So you did all the exercise, right? Or did
Yes.
I interrupt you? Okay, no. Okay, cool then. I was wondering if I interrupted you. Okay, but awesome. It was really nice to see you code and like tackle all the questions. Thank you so much. Eduardo, like yeah, it's so nice to see how people think from how to approach a problem. So we do have some questions. I think you answered some from the chat also, but I do have some more generic questions, so we can go
Yeah.
through those also. Yeah. Someone asked that can I use Pinia with TypeScript?
Yeah, I would say that's the whole the
Yeah.
whole idea, right? It's precisely one of the main points of using Pinia is to get the a better TypeScript experience.
Awesome. Yeah. So TypeScript users, yay. Uh, so we have another question. Which style of Pinia store do you prefer, options or setup? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of each?
The truth is, I use both. I think the option version is just more uh, for stores because they are self-contained, differently from components where you have composables. So you can have pieces of behavior of a component that are extracted to other places. That happens less often with stores. It does happen, but less often. So the options API still allows you to express everything you need without repeating yourself. It does have a few minor improvements in terms of DevTools. So because the way you define a store with the options of a API, I'm gonna move these here so it looks like I'm looking to you. Because the way you define the story in option API allows us to wrap functions differently. They get tracked more precisely. So actions and the mutations that happen inside are tracked more precisely in DevTools. Now, this is purely development experience wise. And compared to that, the setup stores do not get that precision of having the mutation attached to each action. So whenever you change the state inside of an action in option style, they are tracked within actions, and you have the timeline, which I don't know how many people use, but it's pretty cool. So you can have a very precise control, very precise tracking of that. And in setup stores, you only have them superposed. So you can see the action, how long it lasts, and you have dots underneath, but it's not always able to connect the action, the mutation, sorry, to the action. By mutation, I mean changing the state, doing these dot items that push or a patch, whatever you want. But the setup stores do have a major advantage over options, is that you can use composables inside naturally. So in option store, you can also do it, but only inside state. So for example, you can use local storage instead of state and just have state persistence with one line change. In composables, you can use that in getters, you can use that in actions, you can really freely do whatever you want, like in components. So you can abstract small pieces of behavior, and you can use more composable. You can compose things between them. Compose. You can use the result of a composable with another composable, and you can have things that connect to the cookies and the storage at the same time. You can go very, very complex, and it all becomes very expressive.
Okay. Thank you for that detailed explanation. uh, and we have a last question, which is again very generic, like about Vuex. Why not use Vuex for the global state management?
So the idea is that uh, Pinia is the successor of Vuex. So it has a different name for multiple reasons, but it's what Vuex 5 was meant to be. Like it didn't start that way, but that's how it is today. So it has a different name because initially I worked on it before Vuex 5, and then I collaborated with Kia, who worked on the RFC for Vuex 5, and adapted and pretty much everything that was being discussed into Pinia. So it was a way of saying, hey, you did the team told me it was a way to keep the merit for for the project I built. But in my opinion, the real advantage is that we have different Google results. So when you Google something for Vuex or for Pinia, you're going to have different results. And since the API is so different between the two, it's a huge advantage. For example, when we search things that are specific to Vue 3, you don't always have a way to filter that out well. Even if you write Vue 3 in the search, you might end up with Vue 2 results, and it can be confusing. And that would have been very confusing for Vuex if you have the same name.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for, again, the nice information. So these were all the questions, and I'm sure the audience had fun, like coding the state and adding things and removing from cart. So I'm sure that people are going to now be able to buy hot sauces and stuff from our e-commerce application. Yeah, so it's so much fun. Thank you so much, Eduardo, once again for coming here and teaching us about Pinia. It was really, really nice learning from you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Goodbye.
Bye.